Welcome back to Java for Beginners, and today I want to focus on inheritance. As we get more object-oriented, we are going to talk about objects that are this type of object or that kind of object. But in inheritance, there are two kinds of object associations, I guess, or relationships. And we'll talk about is a and has a kind of relationships. And just so you know, get an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm just going to pull up some images, and you guys are going to listen to me talk for 2 minutes maybe, tops. So I got an image of a car, because this is a really nice car. Actually, this image looks kind of cool too. So we'll look at this one instead. This car has a wheel. And that's what we're talking about when we say it has a relationship. So we could represent this car with a class, and then that class would have a object that represents a wheel. And then maybe this wheel object has an object that represents a rim, and so on. And that's kind of how a has a relationship works. And then there's also the is a relationship. And this car is a really awesome car. Sorry. This car is a vehicle. And this may be really, really abstract for you guys right now. But as you start programming, I want you to think about these is a relationships and has a relationships, because it will help you structure your object-oriented programming, all your code. It'll help you structure it much better, and so that huge amounts of code won't feel like huge amounts of code if you abstract them correctly. And so just keep this in mind as we go along in this tutorial and the next few tutorials actually. So I guess I need to show you guys how to use inheritance. So let's make a new project, and of course I'm going to call it inheritance because I'm trying to teach you guys something. Inheritance is not a very complicated subject. It's something we kind of do naturally. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's go ahead and make a main class. But we're not going to do anything here right now. Let's go and make a class called animal. And so this is going to be our superclass, and you'll understand what that means in a little bit. But an animal is kind of vague when you think about it. Animal it covers a lot of different types of animals. You know, there's fish are animals, and birds are animals, and people are animals technically. But, you know, it's a very, very broad term. So what are some characteristics of animals? Well, man, I really need to pay attention to biology because obviously I don't remember things like this. But there are characteristics of animals. And every animal could have a weight. I mean, that's pretty standard for an animal. It has a weight. An animal has a color. No, that's not do color. You get my drift. You could have all the different attributes of an animal, and I'll probably come up with some more in a second. But let's make another class of a certain type of animal. Let's say this is a bird. And birds have different types of characteristics. You could say that this bird has you could define its wingspan. You could define, I don't know, what would you really care about a bird? I mean, wingspan? Sorry, I'm not a great biology person. I probably should have chose a different example. But a bird is a type of animal. So let's get back to inheritance. A bird is a type of animal. So how do we represent that in programming? Because there is a way to do it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make an animal the superclass of our bird. So we're going to go to our bird class and we're going to say extends the animal class. And now this bird class is part of the animal class in a way. It's a subclass. It's a child of the animal class. And you'll hear people refer to the animal class as the superclass or the parent class, and this is the child class. And the thing, when you do this, let's go back to animal, and we say, let's make a method, public get, well, return integer get weight, since that's the only attribute we have right now. And we'll say return weights. And then in our bird, we could be like, we can access things like weight and stuff. Here, let's do a constructor for our bird. We'll say public bird, and then we'll say super. Now with this super command, this is actually a method, it's calling the super constructor from the parent class, which we actually have not defined. So if we were to make a constructor for this class, and we say, let's put integer weight. That way when you define an animal, you have to put it in its weight. So we'll say weight equals, well, here's something I should have covered when we were talking about variable scope. If we want to say weight equals weight, what we're doing is we're assigning this weight value to the same weight value, and so that doesn't really make sense. So we're going to say this dot weight, and this dot weight refers to the weight defined in our class, and then this weight refers to the variable defined in our parameter. So just keep that. That's a nice trick to have. So let's go back to our bird and talk about inheritance. And you see now we have an error because we have a parameter for our animal class that we are not passing into our constructor. So now we got to say, well, how much does this bird weigh? I don't know, birds weigh different amounts, so we better add this to the constructor. And then we'll put weight down here. And here's the crazy thing, I can access the weight from our animal class. Hold on. You see how Eclipse says weight, and then it says it's an integer, and then it says animal. That's because the weight variable is being stored in our parent class called animal. And so that's how I would access my animal weights. But you know, this is still pretty vague. I mean, there's tons of different kinds of birds, and we're only talking about wingspan. So let's make another class. Let's say new class called, let's say cardinal, because that's a type of bird, right? And we'll make a constructor for our cardinal. And you know, cardinals are, we're gonna say string color equals red. You might say I don't know what else you would say about a bird. I really need to work my biology. So let's go ahead and make a method in here that says public integer get wingspan, and then we're going to return our wingspan. So let's go back to cardinal, And we're going to call our super constructor. Yeah. And what we might want to do with a bird is we might want to also say that you need a wingspan to define your bird. So we'll say this dot wingspan, and again that refers to the wingspan defined up here, and then we'll take the one from our parameter doing this way. And then let's go to our cardinal, and then we need to add some variables to this parameter. I'm trying to get Eclipse to give me the suggestions, but it's not. That's annoying. So we'll say super, and we need to have. Eclipse really should be giving me suggestions on that. Anyways, so we need to have a weight. So let's say cardinal weighs, I don't know, 24 ounces. I honestly have no idea how much a bird weighs. It's got to be pretty light. And then for a wingspan, we might say 5 inches. But you know why it's giving us an error? Because we have not defined the parent class of our cardinal. So we're going to go up here and we're going to say extends the bird class. And now we won't have any errors. And actually the color, let's get rid of our color from our cardinal, and let's go into our animal class and say string color, and we'll add that to our parameters. But are you guys starting to see how this might be very, very useful to be able to define your objects like this? Because your bird is a type of animal and your cardinal is a type of bird. I'm going to add this to my constructor of my bird. Then I'll go to my cardinal, and we're going to say your color is red. Because now, what if I had another bird? Let's make another type of bird, and let's say it's called a blue jay. I don't know very many birds. And it's going to extend our bird class. And we gotta add our constructor. And we're gonna get rid of all this, because we don't need it. And we're gonna say a blue jay weighs 30 ounces with a 3-inch span. And we're gonna say it's blue, because I don't know what a blue jay looks like, but I'm gonna guess it's blue. So the whole advantage to being able to do this is I can go over to my animal class and I could be like, well, at some point I want to display information about these animals to the user. So let's say public void print. That way we can print information about these animals onto the screen. And let's give this a name, because an animal needs a name, right? That's probably something I should have done a little bit ago. But hey, when you program, you add some things, and then you go back and add some more things, and then you go back and add some more things. We're going to add our name up to here in our bird constructor. And then we'll pass our name down here. And we'll go to our cardinal. We're going to call this a cardinal. Then we'll go to our blue jay, and we'll call it a blue jay. So we need a way to print these out. So I'm going to say system.out.println. We'll say name plus name. Let's give it a little bit better of a format. And I'm just going to copy and paste this line because we need our weights and our color. And we'll say ounces, that way people don't think it's in pounds. So this prints information about our animal. Now we can go and print information about our bird. Because what we can do in our bird class, and this is when inheritance gets very, very useful, is we can go and we can alter the method, the print method in our animal class inside our bird class. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. We're going to say override, because when the method, if this is a bird type and we call the method print, we want to say, hey, don't call the print method in the animal class. We want you to do this first. And we're going to say public void prints. I don't know why it's giving me issues right now. Hold on, guys. That's interesting. Either I'm like losing it or this is not. I'm gonna come back to that in a second because I have a feeling it's not gonna work. But anyways, we say super.print, right? So this is going to call the print method in the animal class. So then after we do all the printing in the animal class, we're going to say system.out.println animal type is, I don't need to do that, bird. And then we'll say system.out.println wingspan, because that's the variable we have in there. Wingspan. And then let's go to our cardinal. And we don't really need to do anything in that class, do we? Yeah, because I think we covered everything in the upper classes. Normally I don't do that. So let's go to our main, and let's try to test this out. I know this video is going on kind of long. I'm really kind of sorry. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm not planning for this video to go this long. But that's how it happens sometimes. So let's create an array of animals. Say 2, because we only have 2 types. And then in the first animal, say new cardinal. And then animals, equals new blue jay. And so if you notice, this is when inheritance gets really nice, is that I have a array of type animals, or type animal, and I can put other types inside of it because they're child classes of the animal class, which makes life so much easier. And then we could just say for integer I equals 0, I is less than animals.length, I is incremented, and then animals I.print. And this should do everything correctly, but I feel like it's not going to because we're missing that override. No, it worked correctly. We have our name of our cardinal, our weight, our color, animal type is a bird, and its wingspan is 5, which I have no idea if that's correct or not. And our blue jay, 30 ounces, it's blue, and it's a bird, which, yeah, you should probably know. But you see how this might make life a little bit simpler? And this applies a lot to game development, because what I'll do when I make my computer games is I'll make a class called character, and then that class handles everything that I need for a character. Or I'll make a class called AI, and it will do everything that an AI would do, and then all I have to do is make subclasses of it, and then each subclass will be a little bit different than the standard AI, and they could be different enemies for the game. And so this is extremely important in object-oriented programming. You will use inheritance all the time. It is a little bit, I think it's probably the most complex thing that we have covered in this tutorial series so far, but it is crucial that you understand inheritance. And I'm kind of sorry this video has gone over 20 minutes, which I really try not to make my videos that long, but I feel like inheritance is so important that we need to cover it. But hopefully you guys understand. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below. Maybe I'll add another video if there's a lot of questions. But I think this is what I'm going to cover on inheritance. So this is all I'm going to do for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, if you have a question, leave it in the comments down below. I will answer it when I can. Or someone else who watches my videos will answer it too. But other than that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.